everyone. Welcome to Highbridge Hills, Wisconsin for the 2007 PDGA World Championships. I'm Adam Zucker, and we'll get you out to the opening of the Men's Masters in just a few moments. Coming up in just about 45 minutes, the Women's Open Final will tee off where Valerie Jenkins holds a 5-stroke lead over Iowa's Angela Chickfry. Defending champ Des Redding sits 7 back in third, and Carrie Berlager is 12 back in fourth. We'll show you all the highlights from the Women's Open this week, including Valerie Jenkins' amazing record-setting round from Thursday. And in just about an hour, in what may be the most exciting final ever, the Men's Open will get underway, with Nate Doss holding a 2-stroke lead over Marcus Kallstrom, followed by Kel LaVisca at 7 back, and how about Mike Randolph from the B pool to championship final. You definitely don't want to miss highlights of the playoff that put him in the final. We'll show you all the action from the week and a whole lot more coming up in just a few moments. But first, let's get a quick look at the courses here at Highbridge Hills and an overview of the divisions. We got our man on the scene, former Tour Pro Billy Crump, standing by. Billy?
That's right, Adam. We have 6 beautiful courses here on the facility. But the main competition, the Open Men, Women, and Masters division, will be focused on 3 courses. Blueberry Hill, Granite Ridge, as well as the famed Highbridge Gold course.
So tell me about Blueberry Hill, Billy. I hear it's one of the favorite courses among a lot of the players.
Well, Blueberry Hill consists, one of the reasons it's one of the favorite courses, it consists of 9 holes pretty much in the open, 9 holes in the woods, and it's a small technical course, so a big arm doesn't have a super advantage on this course.
The shots that are being made there require a certain amount of technical skill, and if they have a good arm and are able to be accurate, they can score on that course.
Well, the balance between the open and wooded holes proved to be quite the difference maker, as you'll see from the highlights coming up. But Billy, tell me about Granite Ridge. What's so unique about that course?
At Granite Ridge, the holes have unique names like Fly Like an Eagle, Crocodile Rock, and Freebird, rock songs from the 70s.
Granite Ridge is our steepest course, and it's the most wide open. And to add to the challenge, we added 5 extra tees for the Worlds.
Well, it looks like somebody dug out their old 45 records for that course, Billy, but what about Highbridge Gold?
Well, Adam, Highbridge Gold is the longest course on the facility and definitely the premier course. Playing a little over 9,700 feet, and on Highbridge Gold, the holes are inspired from anything made with gold or gold in color.
Well, Highbridge Gold is designed specifically for the elite players in the world. It starts out with a fairly technical long holes in the first 6 holes, and then it's pretty wide open. We've borrowed a lot of fairways that were for the golf course that was originally going to be here.
Besides the 3 courses played by the Open Men, all other divisions also played the Woodland Bear course.
The Woodland Bear course is a combination of a long, challenging wooded course with a short technical course to give a challenge for all of the players not in the Men's Open division. Hole 17 features the basket supported by 3 trees.
The Open division will face those 3 courses primarily, and some of the other divisions will play Highbridge Gold, but it will be on a different layout. I believe the Open Women and Masters and Open Men will play the 9,700 plus foot layout.
And before we head out to the Men's Masters Final, here's a look at the purse for all divisions. Thousands of dollars on the line, and as we'll see, one stroke can be the difference between $500 in the end, maybe even $1,000. Stick around, we'll be right back to bring you the Masters Final right after this.
Disc golf, it's in the air.
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 Disc golf, it's in the air. Disc golf, it's in the air.
So, Billy, which player should we expect to do well here?
Jim Oates and Brad Hammock look like they're going to battle down to the end. We also have Joy Melee in that group, who is known as the technician and should really thrill the crowd in this final night.
The men's Masters division is open to players older than 39. This year's Worlds boasted a field of 63 players with a total purse of $15,700 and a top prize of $2,500. Some former champs in the field included Greg Hosfeld. The Miniac finished 6th. 2005 champ Dean Tannick was forced to withdraw due to injury, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. Other top 10 finishers included Austin, Texas's Joel Kelly, who finished 8th, as well as Mitch McClellan and Wisconsin's own John Turlap. But the finalists in the men's Masters division came down to these 4 players. Harold Hampton from Sylmar, California. It's his first time in the finals. Harold had the hot round on Highbridge Gold with a 59. Joe Mila from Bristol, Pennsylvania. The technician won his first Masters title in Minnesota in 2001. The lefty had a 46 on Woodland Bear Friday, which set the course record previously held by Brad Hammock. And from Decatur, Georgia, Mr. Hammock, the defending world champion in the Masters division. He had the best score in relation to par for the Masters for the whole week, with a 58 in the semis at Highbridge Gold.
Yep.
And the leader heading into the finals, Jim Oates from Fair Oaks, California. He won his first Masters title in Rochester back in 1999, tied a Masters course record on Granite Ridge with a 53 in the opening rounds. One of the more visible faces in disc golf, and definitely one of the more vocal. And we're ready for the men's Masters finals as we're joined by tournament director Chuck Kennedy. Big hyzers coming here for Jim Oates and company.
Yes, this is a par 3 hole to start with a wall of trees down the left side. There are 3 gaps there. You can see where that's coming through right now on his tee shot.
Oates found a good gap for himself, and up next, Brad Hammock, playing hurt too.
Yeah, Brad had the groin injury earlier, and I can see that it's given him a little bit of trouble here with some control.
Looks like he's going off to the right into the high grass.
Yeah, he should be able to make a recovery shot from that position if he plays it well.
And now here's the lefty, Joe, the technician Mila, and well, that's a unique shot that you're never going to see from anyone else.
That's true. This is a tough hole for the lefties, and it looks like Joe tried to play the early gap so he could kind of come in the back door, so we'll see how he fares.
Now the crowd liked that one, and here's Harold Hampton.
Yeah, Harold's throwing a bullet right down the pipe there. Curving nicely, and ooh, look at that, right there.
Almost shot the gap, caught a branch, so his second shot could be a birdie.
Yep, he's in the putting circle.
But shooting his second shot first will be Hammock, playing with that injured groin. What's he doing here?
He's throwing a turnover shot to try to hit the gap and came up a little early.
A bit short, and it's still Hammock's shot. He can save par here. It'll be a long one.
Just a little low.
And now we go into the woods with our lefty, Joe Mila, from his knees.
Oh, that's a beautiful save for a potential 3 here.
And while Mila hopes for par, here's Hampton going for birdie. And goes right over the basket.
He gave it a go.
And now it'll be up to Oates for a birdie try. He almost cleared the woods.
Oh, just off.
He'll have to take a par. Here's Hampton for his.
Ah, there's a great save for the 3 there.
Everyone getting 3s except for Brad Hammock, who loses 1 to the field with a bogey. Oates our leader as we head to championship hole 2. Chuck, this one's a little more open than hole 1.
Yes, this is a temporary hole that we put in to link together the Blueberry Hills course with the Gold course. 365 feet in the open field, and
He had to come in around 360 right there.
Mr. Oates parked it.
And now it's the technician, his tee shot.
Yeah, there's trouble on the left side of the basket about 40 feet away where the road is, but that doesn't bother the lefties who kind of curve away from it.
Well, he'll have a long shot at birdie. Now here's Harold Hampton playing the hyzer shot.
Harold with a crush.
Hook up. Come on.
It's like he flew past the basket about 45 feet.
They'll have an open look for birdie, and now here's Hammock.
Let's see if Brad can overcome that leg problem.
Playing through a lot of pain as he twists one out into the wind. Coming down nicely.
Oh, yeah. He should like that.
Limping his way up the fairway.
I'm sure Brad's disappointed with being so close, but just not being able to play at his 100% best.
Hampton first for birdie.
Bingo.
Oh, he's pumped as he comes up to the basket after hitting a long birdie putt. Now here's Mila.
Joey just a little short.
Showing his emotions a little bit, of course, and now here's Hammock. All right.
There we go. That wipes out that bogey on the first hole.
Still shaking his head about something, though. Oates was parked. He'll drop in for an easy birdie, maintaining his lead. One of the more unfortunate developments in the men's Masters division this week was the injury to 2005 Masters World Champion Dean Tannick. Billy Crump caught up with Dean earlier in the week.
We're here with the 2005 Masters World Champ, Dean Tannick. Dean, you had some problems yesterday. What exactly happened?
Well, Billy, it's just one of those fluky things. I guess it could happen to anybody, but on my drive on hole 18 on the Gold, I pulled my wraith a little bit to the right and then went in the woods a little deep, and then I had a little opening, which I was trying to force a beat wraith turnover shot through a little opening, and I fell forward and I caught myself on a rock, but I felt something hit me or poke me next to my left knee.
Did you know you were, injured right away?
Well, I felt something. I didn't know what it was, but, and then when I finally looked at it and then I saw how big the gash was, and I said, and so I kind of wrapped it up.
Well, did you leave the course right then, or did you try to finish your round?
No, I went ahead. I tied a knot around it, and so I finished out and then got medical help. So it's one of those fluke things. It could have happened to anybody,
That's Dean Tannick, 2005 Masters World Champ, and he'll be in contention next year. You can bet on that.
All right, a tough break for the former champ, an all-around class act, and we look forward to seeing him at next year's Worlds. All right, we're going to let the Masters men play ahead and take you back now to hole 1 as the senior Grandmasters are about to tee off. And now to championship hole 1, where it's the senior Grandmasters finals, and Peter Shive up 22 throws, Chuck.
Yeah, Peter just keeps going like the Energizer Bunny. Grinds them down, tournament after tournament.
A nice lanky release into the fairway.
Yep, he pounded that one. Not bad for fellows their age.
And a crowd favorite. Now here's Duster Don Hoffman breaking out the forehand.
Tough shot for a forehand thrower, but that's Don's best shot, and looks like he's got a good one here, setting himself up.
Staying out of trouble, he's got a good look at the basket. Now here's Phil Ganchard, who is 4 throws out of second place.
Yeah, Phil's also a forehander, but he's going to go even one further than Duster and do it with a roller. Check this out. Got himself about 45 or 50 for a potential bird.
Now here is John Kirkland.
Big John's got the arm for this hole. There it is. He's right in the opening, too, with another chance at a bird.
Yeah, a little hop into the short bushes there, but he's in great shape. Shive will be first from the meadow.
This is a new shot for Peter. He's been working on it. That was a forehand throw.
Now Duster. Curving one in.
There's old Duster doing his forehand thing. Okay, here's for the birdie.
Ganchard spots it up. Looks great. He connects.
Boom.
Great shot for birdie. How long was that?
That was probably 45, 50 feet there on this hole. That was Peter's save for the 3 there.
Not happening from the woods, but he'll take the bogey, and he still leads.
Peter Shive, the 6-time senior Grandmasters champion, looks to be in good position to repeat once again. Now let's head back to hole 1 where the Grandmasters are about to tee off. Now to the men's Grandmasters final, David Greenwell up 8 throws and smiling for the camera, Chuck.
Yep, Dave just keeps on going. He's been around for 25, 30 years in this sport and still playing at a very high level.
And you mentioned earlier this week about the knees holding up.
Yeah, he's had trouble in the past, and looks like he's not even going with braces today, so he must be feeling pretty good.
Always feeling good when you're around Beers, Randy Beers.
That's right. I bet he's never heard that before.
All new material every year, Chuck.
Oh, that's good.
And he's pretty happy with his shot.
I don't think he saw where it landed, so I think he'll find out when he gets there.
And here's Mark Ellis. He's got those socks pulled up nice and high for this one.
Yep, getting that extra support. But it looks like his forehand shot, and of course Mark's a forehand specialist for anybody who knows him, and he was trying to sneak through that first gap and come in the back way, which is what the lefties and the forehanders tend to do.
And it looks like that's what Dr. Rick Vokes is aiming to do here, too.
Yeah, that first gap is actually where the short pin placement is for the hole, which the Legends actually played in this tournament.
Vokes likes it. He's just 1 throw back of third, where Mark Ellis sits now. Here's Ellis out of the trees.
There he's doing a little, looks like a forehand roller out of the trees to progress up the fairway.
And now Greenwell.
Greenwell sort of went for it there to possibly get the 2.
And Vokes. His angle better than our cameraman's, but he's up there.
Yeah, he's right there for the drop in. Oh, and Randy's right there also.
Looks like everybody will get a par except for Ellis.
Yeah, Mark, that's his 4th shot from there. It took him 2 to get to that spot after having that tough lie in the woods there.
Now it's time to take a look back at how things shook out in the Masters Women's Division, where Annie Kreml was the hot player to get us going. And back to the top of the hill, the Women's Masters and Grandmasters having their finals together. Annie Kreml leading Lisa Warner, and time to unload. Smooth looking shot.
Yeah, Annie's been a distance champion at times in the past, and she's still got it going.
Got a nice friendly skip there, too. Now here's Ohio's lefty Lisa Warner.
Yeah, Lisa's been coming on strong over the past few years, just getting better and better each year.
She's trying to direct the disc with her right hand. I think she'll like her shot. Now here is Kathy Hardiman. Her husband's caddying for her.
That's right.
Up 12 strokes in the Grandmasters on sandy, gassed, and in good shape after her drive. And here's Sandy.
Yeah, Kathy and Sandy had quite a battle going during this week, and it was only near the end of the week that Kathy really started pulling away.
And Sandy might be in some trouble with this one.
Yeah, it looks like she might have hooked into the trees. We'll have to see when we get down there.
And we all make the walk down the hill. And here's Lisa. Bending one through.
That's right. Lisa is just hooking it through like the lefties have to do on that one.
Kathy going up high.
Kathy parked right by the basket there for an easy 3.
And here's Annie in good shape.
Annie's right there.
Looks like she'll have a par. Sandy having some more trouble with this hole.
Yeah, we didn't see her doing some of the shots trying to get out of the woods there, but that was actually for a double bogey 5.
So Sandy in some trouble. Annie Kremel, though, in far less. She'll finish off a par and maintain her lead.
Now to the Legends division, where Alan Fopel had just a 1-stroke lead on Don Dillon heading into the final 9, but Fopel has opened it up and is set to complete his World Championship.
I may be 1 behind right now, but I was 2 behind yesterday. Now I'm only 1 behind. So, yeah, I'm going to.
So Don Dillon knows he has some ground to make up. 1 throw behind Al Fopel. Here we go.
Lots of chances on this final 9 for either one of them to take the lead.
And they're double digits ahead of both Ragnar Overby and Paul Old Goat Fine. But here's Dillon with a feather in his cap. Maybe some good luck coming his way.
I think he hopes so. I don't know if it was from an eagle that hangs around at Highbridge or if it's his good luck feather he brought with him.
Well, his disc has landed in the fairway. And now here's Overby. Hamming it up a little bit?
He's got kind of a special procedure that he uses when he throws there. I don't know if it's for luck, but it seems to work for him.
And the second Pennsylvanian in this finals. A little off to the left there for Old Goat Fine.
And another lefty.
Grab your chairs, grab your bag, grab your umbrella. Here we go. And here's Overby for his second shot.
Now you'll notice in this final that the Legends are playing to the short pin basket for this same first hole that all the others played. It's the same basket that everybody played to during the week on the Blueberry hole number 3.
Old Goat Fine punching out of the woods. And trying to bend one toward the basket.
There you go. That was a good turn for him.
Now here's Fopel, our leader, by 1.
Yep, setting it up for an easy 3.
So he's looking good, and now Overby.
Bragg is right there under the basket.
And now Dillon. This is his 3rd shot, so he could be in some trouble.
There he goes, but he's saved his 4 there, it looks like.
So Fopel will gain a throw on Dillon and have a lead of 2.
Almost that was actually
putt.
for a save for a bogey, and Paul drop in for 5. And Al's got the 3 to take another shot on Don.
Don punches through the 4.
Disc golf is a great game for people of all skill levels, all ages.
You know, it wouldn't be the Worlds if we didn't have players from around the world coming to play the event. And we had some great turnouts from places like Sweden, Japan, the Kiwis from New Zealand, and our friends from Canada.
We have a very diverse group of players who play our sport, and it's fun for the guy that can throw it 200 yards, but it's also fun for the person that can throw it 150 feet. It's just a great walk in the park.
The World Championship is, for me, it's a dream.
Here we are at the Fly Mart, where everybody can get together and see what's new in the world of disc golf. This is a popular feature at every World Championships where people can sell their disc golf wares. This is where the real money might be made for some folks at the tournament.
Let's take a look now at the highlights from this week in the Women's Open Division and meet our finalists. The Women's Open field had one of the larger turnouts this year with 28 players. The total purse over $7,000 and the top prize $1,800. Some top 10 finishers were former champ Elaine, who finished 5th, one shot out of the finals. Former champ Birgitta Lagerholm finished 7th. Katie Schrader, the 2006 Rookie of the Year out of Minnesota, finished 9th. Two-time defending champ Des Redding started off slowly, not stringing together the hot rounds we're accustomed to seeing, having particular trouble with one basket.
The Wisconsin charm we've been experiencing all week vanished for a few moments on Thursday afternoon on hole 17 of the Bear course, where Des Redding ran into some trouble.
Oh, you're kidding me. You freaking hurry.
But as the week progressed, Des made her push to the finals.
But I'm going to shoot 7 hot rounds to win. Mark it.
Iowa's own Angela Chickfry came out firing and took control early on. Each of the first 3 rounds, she had the hot round, nailing one terrific putt after another.
It's intense when you're on the lead card and when you got Des and Val on there with you. I mean, they're phenomenal players, so.
Valerie Jenkins, the youngest in the first family of disc golf, kept pace and eventually took the lead by shooting an amazing 52 on Woodland Bear, gaining 8 shots on Angela. On the back 9 at Woodland Bear, she birdied every hole, and we caught up with her on hole 18.
I wanted to take a big lead after today. I didn't want to come into a day just being a couple strokes ahead of Angela.
I'm glad I stuck it out, missed a couple putts yesterday, so I'm in the pound.
Sunday morning in the semis saw little change on the leaderboard, though Des Redding shot the best round with a 58. Berlager's putting game was off a little bit, but she hung on to make the finals by 1 shot. Angela Chickfry shot a respectable 61 for second place and a 3-shot lead over Des Redding. Valerie had her drives in order to shoot a 59 and take a 4-shot lead into the finals. We'll bring you the Women's Open Finals in just a few moments. Well, like they say, it's drive for show, putt for dough, and the disc golfers know best. It's your putter that wins you a world championship. Well, it's been a long week of disc golf here in Highbridge Hills, Wisconsin. We've seen past champions, even up-and-comers. Here's a look at some of the best disc golf action we had this week in the men's open division.
I think it's just going to be a real competitive World Championships this year, and it's far from over, no matter how many strokes anybody has.
I think the mark's already set. I can just keep adding to it. But no, I don't really, set goals for numbers or anything like that. Like I want to be 18 time or something, but that would be nice.
Among the 142 players in the men's open division was 12-time and defending world champ Ken Climo. The champ had an up-and-down week and ultimately finished tied for 7th. Wisconsin's own Barry Schultz, the 2-time champ, had a difficult week at Highbridge, unable to get his championship game in order and finished 12th. Now to Avery Jenkins, who made his first Worlds Finals last year. The distance champ returned from Japan just in time for the Worlds, but couldn't get over that jet lag and finished tied for 20th. Some other challengers were Coda Hatfield, who finished 11th, and Delaware's Mike Mosier, who made the finals in '06. He shuttled back and forth between the 2 top cards all week and was in fourth going into the semis. But as we'll see, someone else had different plans. Like Josh Anthon, the California native had some hot scores on Granite Ridge and made some terrific putts down the stretch. And David Feldberg, who upon returning from Japan challenged for the top card with some solid drives and a steady short game. And how about Mike Randolph from Denver, Colorado, out of nowhere from the B pool to championship form. Mile High Mike shot consistently all week, never more than 4 shots off the hot round, and quickly earning the respect from the top pros. Then there was Cale LaVisca, a rising star out of Minnesota who won the Great Lakes Open this year and pushed Kenny Climo to sudden death at the Minnesota Majestic. Blueberry Hill proved to be his key course, shooting in the 40s twice. Then there was the arm of Marcus Schultz. The Swedish-born disc golfer crushed each course, pulling out shots that amazed even the top players. Marcus was on the top card all week and set the course record of 55 at Highbridge Gold. Bam. 2005 champ and last year's runner-up Nate Doss had his game intact all week, shooting hot rounds on gold and granite, and was never more than 3 off the top score.
Ever since Allentown, I've just had that real fire inside of me to really know what winning was all about and how to win. And ever since then, I've just had the fire inside of me to prove myself that I can be a winner out here playing this sport and be one of the best in the nation and around the world.
It was windy, cool, and damp for the men's open semifinals. With Doss and Marcus Schultz battling for first and Cale LaVisca firmly in third, the final spot was up for grabs. Opening the semis, Mike Mosier was in fourth and strung together some quality shots to stay in contention. But after nearly throwing an ace on this hole, Mosier couldn't hold off Dave Feldberg, John Anthon, and the upstart Mike Randolph. Feldberg had some troubles early on, failing to convert on some makeable putts, but on the back nine he regained his composure, nearly draining an ace on the last hole. One of the other challengers, Josh Anthon, came on strong as well, keeping pace with great approach shots and clutch putts. But the dark horse of the competition, Mile High Mike Randolph, who ascended from the B pool to the second card, surged ahead down the stretch, nailing his putts and keeping even with both Feldberg and Anthon. And so after Mosier fell behind down the stretch and the scorecards were all tallied up, Anthon, Feldberg, and Randolph were tied, forcing a sudden death playoff.
Flip. You guys can flip a coin and see what happens.
That's not how it's been done in every year, every world. It's a joke.
So we go back to this morning, some tense moments. Feldberg checking the wind, checking the rule book, but then it was Josh Anthon's turn to tee off first.
Yeah, Josh goes over the top on Granite Ridge hole number 1 for the playoff.
And he hits a little too much wood, and he's going to have a long second shot. And of course, our hero, Mr. Randolph.
Mike Trollope tries the same route, up and over the top.
And he's good luck just continues. He punches through with a clear look at the basket, and now Feldberg came into the tee box knowing he had to at least match that shot.
Now, previously in the regular round, Feldberg went right down the corridor at the basket, almost acing it, but this time...
Nick the tree. He's not too happy. And there were some legends watching this one unfold. Used to seeing those guys carrying their bags at this point in the tournament, but everyone watching to see how this playoff would unfold. Feldberg's second shot was first.
He had to run it. He knew he had to put it in, so he flew past and figures that Mike's going to finish him off.
Anton in a similar situation.
Come on, get out.
Almost.
He gave it a go.
And so it was all there for Randolph to finish this playoff in one hole. Boom.
There it is.
Randolph on to the finals.
Mike, just won the playoff, man. How good do you feel, buddy?
Little bonus time. I don't even have to count those 2 shots.
B-pool, right?
B-pool, baby. That's right.
How can you be in the final nine, bro? You just don't play anymore. I mean, your talent speaks for itself, but what's going on? I mean, how do you just play this good and never play it?
Well, I just got some good breaks out there. Tried to keep it together. Some tough holes. I mean, I think everybody had some bad stretches, but I've been trying to play this year, focusing for this moment. So I tried to dig down and think of all the people that back home that are praying for me, and tapped into that. And I'd like to thank all those guys. Let's go play some more.
Mission accomplished. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thanks, Billy. See you guys.
And while it came down to the wire to determine who would have that 4th spot in the men's open final, the men's masters final pretty much decided with Jim Oates maintaining a big lead. We're wrapping things up now on hole 9. And here is Oates looking to finish what he started with a big heave, Chuck.
Yeah, it's 375 all the way down to the pin, perfectly in his range. And
yep, he likes it. Now here's Joe Mila, who has slipped behind Harold Hampton, and what's this?
Joey's doing what Joey does. He throws possibly the only roller ever thrown on this hole, and look at that thing curl by the basket.
Rolled right over the rocks.
It helps being a lefty on that hole for that type of roller.
And here's Hampton, who moved into 3rd over Mila.
Yes, Harold has a 3-shot lead over Joey going into this hole, so Joey did that roller for the fans.
And here's Hammock one more time.
Finishing off what would be a fine World's Championship for most folks, but I know he's a little bit disappointed he couldn't hang in there for the chance at the top.
Mela finishing nicely.
Right in there, Joey with a 2. And a roller. Maybe the only time we ever see that on that hole.
And there's our champ, Jim Oates, finishing the job.
Jim with the drop-in 2.
Woo! You had a lot of stuff working for you, it sounds like.
Oh man, I'll tell you, these things aren't easy to get. I mean, age protected or not, there's some absolutely wonderfully talented men that play this game, and Harold Hampton had his best Worlds this year, I think. He played outstanding. Brad played excellent. He did have a bit of an injury. I was just about to mention that, Brad, that he did have an injury earlier in the week. It looked like it was healing up, and he hurt his groin, and it happened again here in the semis. And I don't know if that gave me the edge or whatever, but I really felt like I played strong at the end and threw a lot of birdies. So it's one of those games where you play peaks and valleys. You know that, Billy. And it was one of those things where I tried to play through the valleys and across the peaks, and it was nice to have a peak at the end. So that really felt good to me.
Peter Shive needs to find a new division to play in. Here he is closing out another World Championship by double digits in the Senior Grand Masters. And Chuck, as we get set to watch these guys finish up, there have been no miracles. Shive is going to win this one.
Yeah, Peter's been solid all the way through. He's even gained a couple more on the field.
And here's Duster. He should be in good shape for par to finish up. And here's Shive. Be a great way to end it, but he hits the rim.
Just missed it.
And now Kirkland from down below.
Oh, he just missed it.
Off the top plate there. Everybody getting par here except for Ganchard.
Yep, Phil took a bogey on this hole.
Another World's Championship for Shive. But we've heard him so many times. We had Billy catch up with the local legend right after he finished up.
We're here at the 07 Highbridge Worlds with the godfather of Wisconsin, one of the reasons we have this sport in the state. Looked like you were feeding off the crowd out there, Duster.
The crowd was all in my favor. I felt bad about it, but pretty much had it taken care of before the crowd showed up. And I'm just happy to bring something home for the folks in Wisconsin, you know, something to be proud of. And, you know, Barry's been doing it all the time. It's like it's time for the rest of us to step up and take part too.
Awesome. That's Duster Don Hoffman, the godfather of Wisconsin disc golf.
Winning a world championship, nothing new for David Greenwell. Here he is, closing out another title in the Grand Masters division, winning by 13. And with first place wrapped up, Dr. Vokes going for third, Chuck.
Yeah, if the doctor makes this putt,
woo!
He beats Mark Ellis by 1, passing him during the final 9 for third place.
And here's Greenwell, a birdie to finish what we knew he would do, taking another world championship.
Yeah, I think he led wire to wire in this championship.
And a tough ending for Ellis. He'll take the bogey. Fourth place, though, in the Grand Masters.
That's definitely his highest finish in the Grand Masters.
And Beers finishes with a par. He finishes second overall. And as we look ahead to the 2008 season, here's a look at some of the big tournaments in the PDGA. Really not much to determine in the Masters women's final as Annie Kreml had a 12-stroke lead heading into the final 9. Here she is now making things official. Welcome back. Marcus Karlstrom just 2 strokes back of Nate Doss as we get set for the men's open final. Apparently, Karlstrom pretty confident in his chances as our cameras caught up with him on the putting green.
2 strokes is nothing. So, hopefully, he'll be last pretty soon.
Well, disc golfers like to talk about their almost aces just as much as their aces, it seems, and our cameras were everywhere this week, getting the ones that almost stayed in.
Now turn. Whoa! That's a good one for the film. That's better than actually the A drive.
There it is. Oh!
Back hole. Right. Drop it.
With a lot of the other divisions now wrapped up, we're getting set for the start of the Women's Open division. So let's go to our man on the scene by the tees, Billy Crump.
Valerie Jenkins holds a 4-stroke lead over Angela Chick-Fry going into the final 9 holes. Des Redding has made a move to get within 2 strokes of Angela, and Carrie Berlager, probably the most colorful female in the field, is also in that final 9. Should be a real pleasure to watch these girls play.
In our respective divisions, Val is a better golfer. If she's not winning national tours, she's at least top 3 every weekend. She's playing some solid golf lately, and I'm looking for good things from this World Championship. So.
You need to stay in the fairway, stay focused. I know when I'm on my game, I'm not talking much, I'm just in the zone. So I need to do that and just keep focused.
And we're set to begin. Jenkins holding the lead and the leaderboard, Chuck.
Yeah, I think she's holding close for this first potential world title.
Now she's in the tee, hole 1. Huge gallery behind her and letting it rip.
Yeah, all 4 of these women have great arms and should have no trouble being able to throw down on this hole and get close.
And now here's Angela, trailing by 4 throws.
For such a petite woman, she's really got an arm. She's been working hard at that, and she's way out there.
Some solid distance and a big smile. And now here's the defending champ with a lot of catching up to do. 7 throws behind Jenkins.
Yep, Des has her world champion game face on today, seeing if she can make a move.
And she's right there with Chick-Fry, it seems.
And they're all kind of playing real safe from the woods on the left there, so they've got room to maneuver for their second shots.
And here's Berlager. She's going toward the trees more.
Yeah, it looks like she might have a little bit of a challenge in the brush there.
Into the woods goes Berlager.
Well, we'll see if she's got the chops to chop out of there.
And here's Jenkins, her second shot.
There you go. Good camera work on that, right there.
Perfect setup for par for Jenkins.
Beautiful forehand. Carrie showing some of that ultimate form.
She looks to have a par coming her way. Now Des, trying to keep pace with Jenkins.
Yep, nice turnover shot right there.
And Chick Fry looking to join the crowd on the green.
Yep, almost a carbon copy of Des, and they're both there.
Now to hole 2, Chuck. Here's Jenkins unleashing the fury again.
Wide open 365. All the women have this shot in them.
Val with a lot of range. Big smile, little wave. She likes it. Now here's Chick Fry. Her drive. Hanging up there a little bit.
Just a little high and maybe a little wide. We'll see how it finishes.
Probably
Not
not what you wanted there. No, she even says it. Wow. But the ladies laugh it off better than the men do. Here's Des Redding, her tee shot.
Des should be all over this.
She's in good shape. There's Jay cheering her on. And now Carrie Berlager.
Yeah, that's a little bit out to the right there.
Turned it over a bit.
Yeah, it's in the high grass, so that's going to be a ways.
And the walk downhill. Here's Chick Fry's second shot.
Carrie with her forehand.
Here's our leader, Val, from a distance.
And it's a nice layup for the drop-in 3.
And now Des. Bam!
Big putt for Des. She jogs up there and she's on the move.
A 2 on number 2. Chick Fry coming out of the woods, so we'll have a bit of a shift there between second and third place. Redding's going to be within a stroke of Chick Fry. Now we're going to championship hole 3 and Des within a throw of second place. And she splits the trees.
This is a tough shot out of the woods.
Now here's Val. Right down the alley.
Val will like that one. That's right where the short pin is normally on that hole.
Berlager going high.
She really wanted that one.
Ooh. Behind the trees. Now here's Chick Fry coming off the bogey.
Oh, looks like she flexed that one out nice. Way out there. I think that might have been the best of the bunch.
Who's that guy? Berlager's second shot. Yep. Now Chick Fry ripping one uphill.
Oh, beauty, right there. This whole play is 575, so it's no short throw for these women players.
Although Val Jenkins, she has some distance in that arm. Can she be accurate here? Also the case.
In the circle.
And here's Des. Smooth. But in the thick stuff.
Yeah, we left a little high grass right there for a little hump and hazard for the folks.
Berlager
Whoa! Oh!
Yes, that was a 3 save right there.
Almost a great picture for that guy. Redding, gonna check for ticks after this putt. Val continues to maintain her lead. So on monster hole number 4, everybody getting a 5, but that's a good score on this hole.
That's a great score. 935 feet, a temporary hole specially for the open men and open women.
So coming off the big monster, Val still up by 5. Here's Des Redding in the tee box. Staying in the fairway, Chuck.
Yeah, this is a long corridor hole, 570 feet, par 4, that's normally hole 15 on the Gold Course.
Jenkins keeping it low. Nice skip.
And this is the first time the women have played this back gold tee. During the tournament week, they played the shorter white tee.
Chick Fry teeing off. Avoid those trees.
Ooh, that's tough on that left side there.
Now Berlager. Crushes it.
Yep, the idea is to stay nice and smooth up the middle on this one and not go left or right.
Jenkins came up a bit short of the crowd, so she'll throw her second shot first. Ooh, having some trouble with this one.
Just a little bit, but that's not a bad spot for 2 throws.
Berlager from the left rim of the woods stays on the fairway.
Good power on that, almost out of the woods.
Here's Des. Bends it nicely around the corner.
Yeah, even further out of the woods.
Chick Fry needed to get out of the woods. She's in better shape now.
She's in better shape, but she's lying 3 and the other women are lying 2 where they're at.
Jenkins with the touch. She should be dropping in. Berlager. Whoa.
Boy, she's got that forehand approach shot down.
Des. Little push from the wind there.
Yeah, long run for 3, but looks like a 4 like just about everybody here. That was to save a 4 for Angela.
Berlager finishing the job, and so Des and Chick Fry are tied. As we get set to move to hole 8, let's look back at 6 and 7, where everybody birdied hole 6.
Yeah, 6 the island hole, which Angela had some trouble with during the week. They all parked their shots, dropped them in for 2s.
A star frame, and then on hole 7, pars around.
Yeah, hole 7 at 480 is not an easy 3, but the women sure showed that they could handle it and all parred out.
And Jenkins maintaining her lead as we check out the action on hole 8. And now, in the tee on 8, Des Redding.
Yeah, hole 8 is actually hole 18 on the Gold Course, which the women played from the white tees during the week, and they're now playing the golds.
Des and Chick Fry in a tie for second.
That's the tight battle right now. Jenkins with a very big lead with 2 holes left.
Yep, I'm sure she's got the nerves right now, just trying to hold in there and not do anything wrong.
Berlager, at this point, having fun?
Having fun, as she always does.
The party follows her. Now here's Chick Fry.
This fairway is fairly wide open.
Chick Fry did sail behind that bush, but she should be able to work her way around it. We saw Val's brother Avery walking with him. Berlager's second shot. Carrying the hill.
Yeah, at 635 feet uphill, this is just a little bit out of their range for reaching the basket in 2 throws, but some of them might get close enough to get a jump putt or maybe a long one from 40 or 50 feet.
We saw Chick Fry's second shot. Now here's Jenkins. Low. But in a good spot. Now here's Redding, trying to stay focused on her hunt for second place.
Des had a great drive and was up on one of the plateaus, and it looks like she's really close on her second shot.
Val laying up. Chick Fry's third. Now here's Des, taking control of second place.
A beautiful birdie 3 from the gold tees on 18.
Berlager finishes. And now hole 9, Val with the big lead, but Des maintaining box order. Big drive, trying to hold on to second place, drifting off to the left a little bit.
Yeah, it's tricky to get it to land right on the old golf tee that the basket sits on.
Jenkins going to try to do it. You see the basket. Here she comes, skipping nicely. Oh, she's in great shape.
Yep, she's on the runway there.
Berlager, one more time. A higher route coming right at us. She's ahead of the rocks. Now Chick Fry. Will she make a push and try to tie Redding for second place? A little too much of a push.
Yep, she was going for it though. She needed a birdie to see if she could catch Des for a tie.
Chick Fry coming uphill. Not happening.
Yep, so unless Des does something crazy.
Here she is.
But not a world champion. She's right there to close out second place.
Second place this year for her. Now, Jenkins. Oh, but she can smile instead and take a par. She's going to be your world champ officially in just a moment. Chick Fry wraps up third. Berlager fourth. Redding taking second. And here's Jenkins, her first world championship.
Valerie just wanted to miss that putt so she could be the last one in. She's a pro. She's watched her brother and others play that last hole.
High fives all around. Where is her brother? She'll get some hugs from her competitors first.
I'm a champion.
I'm a champion.
I'm a champion.
Innova was formed in 1983.
I'm a champion. I'm a champion.
I'm a champion.
Innova's champion line of discs provide outstanding performance and durability.
I'm a champion.
I'm a champion.
I'm definitely a champion.
Innova, still making champions. So congrats to Valerie Jenkins winning her first world championship. And now there's a couple of men who are eyeing their first as well. Billy Crump getting us ready for the start of the men's open final.
On the open side this morning, we ended up after the semifinals with a three-way tie. Josh Anthon, David Feldberg, and Mike Randolph. They were forced to play a sudden death on hole 1 of Granite Ridge, the course they had just come off, and Mike Randolph ended that playoff in 1 hole. He'll now join Kel Laviska, Marcus Kallstrom, and your current leader Nate Doss in the final 9.
He's on a mission. He's playing great golf. Every round he's consistently shooting the hot round, or at least within a stroke or two of the hot round. So he's playing some great golf, making some great putts, and he's got a great attitude this week, so I look for him to win this.
And we're all set for Nate Doss to tee off, leading by 2, Chuck.
Yep, one of the tightest finals we've ever seen in World Championship history in the Open Division.
Woo! Shooting that gap, throwing into the wind. He's in good shape for birdie here on championship hole 1.
Yeah, this hole should be a piece of cake for these big shooters. 370 downhill. The only trouble is that tight gap right by the pin.
Schultz has the big arm, living in Scranton, Pennsylvania now, so we can practice at Prompton. Arrgh, hit something hard there.
Yeah, he got kind of an unlucky bounce there. It could have slid into the brush and had a closer putt.
Now here's Kel Laviska in 3rd. Taking the high road.
It's up.
It's down.
I guess we'll see where it is when we get there.
And now the guy that's got to be the crowd favorite, Mike Randolph, after winning the playoff.
Yep. Mike steps up and just guns it. Oh boy, he's got a little bit of shul to deal with there.
Into the woods.
I'm really surprised that none of the players played the really long shot past the trees and came back door. All right, that's a good setup for Mike there.
Got himself out into the open. Laviska has a long shot for birdie.
Yep, he's a young guy that can stretch like that.
Don't know how that would be. Now Schultz. Wide stance.
This guy has been putting
Whoa.
lights out all week long, and that's just another one of Marcus' fine putts.
Huge birdie for Schultz. And now Doss. He needs to sink his.
Nate answers. No movement on this hole.
Maintaining his 2-throw lead.
Mike shows a nice save for a 3. As does Kale.
And now to championship hole 2. Doss ripping it.
He's kicking himself for that shot. That's way short for a man of his caliber.
Probably wanted to avoid the woods. Instead, he's way short. Now Schultz gets his a little higher up into the air. Where's it going to land?
Oh, got down and left.
Laviska.
Oh,
Best
he
drive
stuck
yet.
it. He stuck it.
And now here's Randolph.
Way outside, bringing it around. Well, he left himself a little bit of a putt, too.
But they all avoided that road. Randolph away. He's made big shots all week, and he makes another.
He's happy.
Now Das. His turn for a big putt. No, off the rim. Schultz now within one. Laviska gaining ground on our leader. And here he is, teeing off on the third hole. Laviska. Bouncing off a tree.
Boy.
But he ends up okay.
As long as you're not against a tree, you can save it on this hole.
Randolph coming off that monster putt on 2 with a monster drive. Sails off to the left.
Yeah, he's out in the open, though, and probably can make it to the basket.
Das holding on to the lead by 1 now. Also some trouble getting into the clear.
Yeah, man. These big boys had a little bit more trouble than the women coming out of the chute there.
Das makes an equipment adjustment. Eyeing up his second shot. And he makes up for his drive with a beautiful second shot.
Yeah, not bad for a 575-foot hole. That had to be over 300-foot approach uphill.
Only a few guys can do it. Here's Laviska.
Look at that. Kale's past the pin, actually, with that upshot from a long ways away.
Now here's Randolph trying to work his way up the hill.
Yeah, big hyzer right in the putting circle.
Now Schultz. Got to avoid any mistake here.
You can see his angle of release. When he gets the opportunity, he just plays that big knife hyzer when he's out in the open.
And he's close, but he's in the tall grass. Has to sink another big putt, and he does.
He does. Marcus is solid all the way so far.
Das. Ooh.
Nice 3 save on the high right.
Still up by 1. Laviska.
Ooh,
can't finish that one. And here's Randolph. Bang. As we all walk to hole 4, Schultz to lead us off, trailing by 1.
As you might recall, hole 4 is the big monster at 935 feet. We put it out there hoping we could see some big throws from the big boys, and it looks like they're starting to show.
Followed by Randolph. Hugging the right side. Stays up, though.
Comes back right in the fairway. The tee shot's kind of a downhill throw on the initial drive.
Let's see how Das unloads.
He's following Mikey's air there.
Yeah, boy.
Look at that. Almost matched.
Comes back beautifully, just a couple feet shy of Randolph's distance. Now Laviska. What's he going to uncork?
Looking a little nervous. Uh-oh. Little high grass on the right there.
And here it is. Sitting nicely. Ooh,
look at
but
this.
Slips right in. Beautiful.
Remember, folks, 935, 2 throws, standing in the brush.
Got to go about 450 a throw plus some.
You got a little bonus with the downhill on the drive, but second shot's pretty much level all the way.
Nate playing it off to the wood side, coming down the slope nicely though. Let's see what Randolph can do. Gets it up there. Will it get down there? Way down.
Maybe 60 out for Mike there.
Schultz can make a big move with a great second shot.
Yeah, Marcus might have even had to choke back a disc or something. And he's right there.
Sitting pretty. Randolph from just outside the woods goes past. Now here's Doss, uphill putt. Schultz to keep pace. Does it again.
That's why these are world-class players, folks.
And LaVisca joins them.
And Mike drops one on this hole to the group.
Now to hole 5, Schultz, still trailing Doss by 1.
Oh my goodness, look at this shot.
Dodging everything and staying in the fairway. What distance?
That's the longest shot seen on that hole all week.
Now Doss has to answer. His lead in jeopardy, heading toward the trees. Look out. He got out of it too.
Nothing like a little luck to go with skill.
LaVisca, he's had both all week. Zipping one up there, and he might have a tough angle now.
Not too bad. He's got a little tighter angle, a little sharp hyzer coming out of there.
And here's Randolph. We saw luck come through for him in the playoff in the morning. And a little more luck right there. Nice bounce back out.
And he'll get to see what Cale does. I think Cale goes right before him there. You can see Mike's disc in the ground.
LaVisca running after it to see what he's done.
Yep. That's still probably a good 85 feet away.
Now Randolph aiming high. Getting more distance.
Look at that. He got a little bit farther than Cale, but he's still got a little tester coming back there.
Doss, uphill, smooth. Within a few feet of the basket. Schultz looking to do the same, and we have a forehand coming.
He's going for a 2. Ooh,
whoa.
That would be awesome.
LaVisca has the longest putt of them all by far.
Yeah, it looks like Cale's going to take an easy 4 there.
Randolph.
Unbelievable.
Another.
Bangs another long one.
Our leader is still our leader. Schultz still teeing off first, trailing Das by 1.
This is the big island hole, number 16 on the gold course, number 6 in the finals.
Big cloud of dust for Schultz. Das needing to follow, doesn't want to overdo it.
This hole has a moat all the way around it and an OB area apron going back towards the tee for about 50 feet.
Gotta be precise. Here's Randolph.
Just barely over the OB pipe there, so he's safe.
Now LaVisca. Got to avoid the moat.
If the players don't land on the island and go OB, they have to rethrow from the white tee.
And we saw all the women avoid that too. They all had birdies in their finals. Randolph did. He follows it with a great putt. He's got a birdie. Now Das. Got to maintain that lead. Uh-oh.
Boy, and he just barely stayed in bounds, too. From the angle he's putting, he could actually have putted into the moat with a miss like that.
And we got a good view of the moat. Das shouldn't get too worked up. He's somewhat lucky that he didn't go OB. Now Schultz for a tie in the lead. Yes. LaVisca to finish. Das gets par, and we move to hole 7. Schultz now tied for the lead. Ooh.
This is a big crush across the open OB area.
Schultz on fire right now.
Understand, folks, this is 480 feet, slightly uphill, and all that uncut area is out of bounds. And you just see Mike get the OB.
Randolph off in the dirt. These guys are getting the distance as LaVisca unleashes a drive.
Everybody's watching up, and he's safe in bounds with a putt.
About a 440-foot drive. Now Das up. Tied for the lead after having it all to himself for most of the finals.
Everybody's concerned. It's coming in. Heiser just barely inbounds and has a putt.
So Randolph, after going OB, his third shot.
Yeah, Mike is throwing another Heiser shot out over the area he went OB before. But this time he was playing from the white tee, so it was a little shorter shot.
And he is safe. Here's LaVisca off to the right for birdie. Woo!
Kale banging it 2.
Big shot for him as he looks to hold on tight to third place. Now here's Das. This would be huge.
Oh, how did that not stay?
Das ran into some bad luck in last year's finals. He's got to think it'll change down the stretch, though, as Schultz goes after sole possession of the lead. It goes
my
out.
God. The gods must be crazy.
Equal opportunity chains here in the finals.
Oh, my goodness.
Randolph, they stick for him, and we're still tied after hole 7. LaVisca starts us off as we are tied for the lead between Das and Schultz. LaVisca will show them the way.
Again, hole 8 is gold hole 18, 635 uphill. across some golf tee platforms.
Schultz's drive. On the rocks with a twist.
Near the bush.
And now Das. Last year's runner-up.
Well, he's turning it over on this one.
Going in a different direction.
And he is back somewhere in those bushes.
And here's Randolph's drive on 8. Got a good view of this one.
Right on the flat. That'll be fine position for an upshot.
LaVisca and Randolph with far less nerves right now than Das and Schultz are dealing with, and LaVisca is in good shape for a 3.
Just trying to finish out the round.
So Schultz has to step out to the side for his second shot. Can't get full power on it.
It could be the shot of the tournament. Uh-oh.
You don't want to end up by the cars, I gather.
I gather, and that's way out to the right of the basket, and the road is not OB, so he's okay there.
And while we wait to see what Das will do, here is Randolph. Beautiful.
Money melons out. Perfect, right?
Money melons.
That's right.
And now Das with a big opportunity here, tied for the lead. Falling down.
Doing everything he could from the bushes. And look at this.
Oh, boy.
That's what it takes to be a world champion, folks.
Luck changing quickly for Nate Das. A big high five from Avery Jenkins. Das will clean himself up. Schultz will try to clean up this hole here. In jeopardy of falling back into second place. Unless he makes this miracle 3.
It was high enough, but off the line.
Kenny Climo knows what it takes to finish out a championship or 12. He's texting somebody. Schultz stays within 1, assuming Das is able to make his putt. And here it is for the lead.
Ooh. Not just barely. He bounced it in. I think he might have been nervous after that last one.
Oh, there it is. The big exhale for Das and a big smile.
Yeah.
So Nate Das, your leader by 1 on the 9th hole. Here's tee shot. Here we go.
Is he going for it or playing safe? I'd say a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. Big cheer from the crowd for Das. Now here's Randolph. The crowd's been on his side these last couple days as he's made this miracle run from Pool B.
Look at this.
Wow, what a finish.
A way to finish a world title championship run.
LaVisca's final drive of 07 Worlds. Not how he envisioned it.
No, but Kale had a fine week nonetheless.
And now Schultz.
He has to birdie this one and hope Nate misses his putt.
Trailing by 1.
Uh-oh. Schultz got the big tree out there. The odds are maybe 1 in 50 of catching it, but his number came up and he kicked away. At least it's not OB, so he can potentially make the putt.
He'll still need Nate to miss, but as Das walks the fairway, he's got to feel really good. A couple other guys have shots to throw before he takes his shot at a championship. LaVisca with his upshot. And now here's Schultz. If this doesn't go in, Das is thinking championship. Oh, skipped right by the pipe.
That's right. Now, does Nate go for it on this elevated platform? No, there's a championship move. I think that was sort of what he did in 2005, wasn't it?
That's exactly what he did. Schultz finishes with authority.
He got the 3, but he needed the bird.
He'll hold up 2 fingers. He'll take home second place. Randolph finishing a great week, as does LaVisca. And now our big moment for Nate Doss, finishing off a world championship.
Big Nate! Yeah, baby! Yeah! Oh. Fluke now, baby! What's up? Come here, dude. Come here, dude. Come here.
We're here with Nate Doss and his caddy, Jim Hagan. 2007 world champ. Nate, that's your second one. Man, that was a battle. You said it was going to be the most highly contested worlds ever. Tell me what went on out there.
I'm the luckiest man on the face of the earth right now. I don't really know at the moment. Marcus played fantastic. To be honest with you, I can't believe I won. He played so well today, and I got to tip my hat to Marcus. He's a fabulous golfer. He threw like a freaking madman today, and it's amazing to watch him play, and I congratulate him on his performance today.
All right, Billy sharing a special moment with the champ as Nate Doss wins his second Open title. Now it's time for trophies and a whole lot of cash as we check out the trophy presentation.
Thank you guys for coming out. That's awesome.
Congratulations to Marcus. You know, I kind of feel like this is his world title too. He just played so fabulous. It was an honor to play with him all week. As well as Kale, but Marcus really earned his right to be here, and you know, there can only be one champion, but you know, Marcus should lift the title too. He's a great player, and I'm just the lucky one today, so I can't thank him enough. There's just not enough words to say. I'd also like to thank everybody here in northern Wisconsin, all the staff members, the PDGA, the people who own this place. This is the most immaculate place that I'm at right now. It's amazing, and it's just so special to win the World Championships here. And I'd like to thank them for having us, and I hope that we can come back soon.
And that puts a wrap on the 2007 PDGA World Championships from here in Highbridge Hills, Wisconsin. For Billy Crump and our entire team, I'm Adam Zucker, and we'll see you next year in 2008 in Kalamazoo.